you know, so many of us, I think, are even either in the school segregation camp and working on school segregation, or working on housing segregation, and often in really distinct silos. So, question for you is, if you are concerned about school segregation, how and why should you also be attentive to advocating for housing against housing segregation as well? And I'll turn that over to Richard. We'll keep popcorning it back.
Okay, all right. Well, housing segregation, residential segregation, is a school problem. If you care about the achievement of African American students, you've got to understand that the reason that, on average, their achievement is lower than the achievement of white children is because they're locked into neighborhoods. They're going to neighborhood schools, and they're locked into neighborhoods that are poorly resourced and that bring them to school unprepared to take advantage of what even the best schools have to offer. I have many examples I can give you. For example, I remember I wrote one column. I was the New York Times education columnist. I wrote one column about asthma. As you probably know, African American children in urban neighborhoods have asthma at a much, much higher rate than white suburban children. Much higher rate, 4 times as great in some cities. They have asthma because they live in more polluted neighborhoods, more industrial facilities nearby, more diesel trucks driving by their homes, more dilapidated buildings, more vermin in the environment, more empty lots kicking up dust. And if a child has asthma, that child is more likely than a child does not have asthma, not in every case, but more likely to be up at night wheezing and then coming to school drowsy the next day and not being able to perform at the same level as a child who comes to school well rested. Well, that's a school problem, but it can't be solved so long as African Americans are living in more polluted neighborhoods and whites are not. Um, Lead poisoning. We've all seen the stories in the last few years about urban neighborhoods that still receive residential water through leaded pipes, uh, poorly maintained buildings that are chipping lead paint. This has a measurable impact on IQ. That's a school problem. It's not just a residential problem. And so you can go through so many more of these kinds of assaults on children. Lack of access to markets that sell fresh and healthy food, that keep children healthy, for example. Uh, Police causing stress to children who come to school. Perhaps their brothers or fathers have been arrested for things that white brothers and fathers would not be arrested for. And so children come to school stressful. All of these things add up. And if you have a school where almost every child has one or more of these assaults on their ability to learn, that school can't possibly be able to achieve at the same level on average as a school where children come healthy, well rested, well nourished, in economically secure homes, uh, and not with daily interactions with the police. So these are educational problems. And I came to the conclusion that people who are concerned about educational equality, like I was, have to be focused on residential inequality because most children in this country have to go to neighborhood schools. They live too far distant. No matter how many buses you build and put on the roads, they live too far distant from other race neighborhoods to be able to have a meaningful integration program uh, that affects very many children without attacking the segregation of those neighborhoods, and in particular, the concentration of lower income African American children in neighborhoods where people like them are the only other people there.